What's going on, guys? Back at it again with another Isobel build here for you guys on the channel. This one is a good one, guys, so stay tuned. I call this one the Firebrand. This build was a ton of fun. Not only is it thematic to the Templar with the whole sun theme and everything and fire and things of the sort, but it also deals out a pretty decent amount of overall DPS. So I actually really thoroughly enjoyed this one. So if you are excited for this, do me a huge favor, drop a like on this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because it really does help this channel grow. So enough yapping for me, guys. I just want to jump into this. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start with the Breton passives, because there is a part of this passive that really does thoroughly help the overall damage output of your companion, and that is called Enchanted. It reads as decreases ability cooldown by 3% and damage taken by 3%. So not only does it have a certain level of survivability attached to this character or to this build in general because of the damage reduction by 3%, but also increases or decreases, if you will, ability cooldown by 3%. And as you guys know, if you decrease the overall cooldown rate of your attached skills, they're able to use it a lot more frequently, thus creating a situation in which you use the skills more often, therefore creating more DPS. And again, this really does help out a lot. For the first skill on your bar, however, we have Elemental Barricade. Elemental Barricade reads as Isobel Velois slams their staff down to create an elemental wall in front of them, dealing 10,350 magic damage over 8 seconds. The best part of this skill is the fact that the duration of this skill is 8 seconds, but the cooldown technically is also 8 seconds, but with your passive attached to it, it's 7.8 seconds. Effectively creating a situation in which she can potentially have this skill up 100% of the time, dealing damage, magic damage over time all the way around. In the number 2 slot, we have Beam of Reproach. This is a fantastic skill. We'll get into it in a second, but Beam of Reproach reads as Isobel Velois bathes an enemy in a beam of sunlight, immediately dealing 5,183 magic damage and healing allies nearby for 4,350 health. The residual light then continues to heal allies near the enemy for 1,087 health every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. So not only does it deal a slight burst heal of 4,350, but it also gives you a slight heal over time of 4 ticks. So that's 1,087 health every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. So that's 4 ticks of 100. I keep saying 100 of 1,087. My apologies. But aside of the heals, which also helps in her survivability, besides that major fact on its own, it also deals magic damage of 5,183 magic damage. The best part of this is that it also has an average cooldown of 12 seconds, but with her Breton passive, it reduces it down to 11.6 seconds, making this a fantastic skill for not just your damage over time, or your overall damage output, I should say, or your heals. So this is a great skill, literally 100% all the way around in her survivability and her damage output. In the number 3 slot, we have Sunbrand. Sunbrand reads as Isobel Velois hurls a blazing ball of fire at an enemy, dealing 10,365 flame damage on impact and an additional 7,768 flame damage over 8 seconds. The best part of this is that it also has an average cooldown of 11.6 seconds, which is absolutely fantastic. But these are the types of skills, I say this all the time, but this is one of the skills that the type of skills that I love using a lot, because not only does it deal an initial amount of damage, in this case being 10,365 flame damage, but it also gives you an additional 7,768 fire damage over 8 seconds, effectively giving you an upfront damage output and a damage over time. Absolutely fantastic skill in my opinion, and should be slotted on pretty much any of your DPS skills because it's just that good. In your number 4 slot, we have Arcane Nova. Arcane Nova reads as Isobel DPS releases a surge of magic to enemies around them, dealing 10,365 magic damage. On top of that, it also has the added Fire Staff ability, which Fire Nova applies the burning status effect, which if I'm not wrong on this, I believe it deals an additional fire damage over time for the duration of this skill, which again, it's absolutely fantastic. This skill is great. There is one downfall to this though, and that is that she has to be up close to them in order for this skill to work, within 6 meters to be exact. And because of that, since she is a Fire Staff user, she tends to keep her distance. So you will have to either maneuver your way to have the enemies around her, or simply put, manipulate her to come towards you, which is what I usually do. If you guys don't know, on PC, if you hold down the ultimate button and then you right click on your mouse, it brings her to you. And then if you do the same thing, hold the ultimate button and then you left click, she commences to attack. So that's absolutely imperative to have this skill active, guys, because again, if she's not within range, she just plain and simple will not use it. So there is some manipulation of her that has to be done in order for her to use this skill, which you guys will see later on in a boss fight. Still a great skill nonetheless if you are able to kite enemies to her, or if you could bring her to the enemies themselves. In the number 5 slot is your burst heal of Blessed Sacrament. Isobel DPS sends out a burst of soothing light, healing themselves or a nearby ally for 4,350 health and an additional 1,631 health every 2 seconds for 8 seconds as the light momentarily lingers. This skill is fantastic. For the same reason Sunbrand, I enjoy Sunbrand or those types of skills in general, I enjoy this one as well. Not only does it give you a burst damage of 4,350, but it also gives you a heal over time of 1,631 for 2 seconds every 8 seconds. So it's 4 full ticks that it gives you that 1,631, effectively being pretty good all the way around heal. The absolute best part about this skill in general though is the fact that the cooldown is only 7.8 seconds, so she will be using this skill quite often should she need to. Of course, there is that little asterisk attached to this that is only used when the ally or Isobel is below 75% health. However, this is a great skill nonetheless. When she's above 75% health though, she will be using Beam of Reproach as her primary heal, but whenever she's under 75 health, it's more of an emergency type of situation, therefore Blessed Sacrament comes in clutch. In terms of your ultimate, we have Baneslayer. Baneslayer reads as Isobel DPS channels their energies and conjures a weapon made of sunlight before striking downward, dealing 10,365 magic damage to all enemies in front of them. Enemies damaged by Baneslayer have particles remaining on them for 10 seconds that detonate for 5,183 magic damage when a player deals damage to them. This is an absolutely fantastic skill to have. Of course, it's her only ultimate, so there is that, but it is a good one, period. She not only deals an initial 10,365 magic damage up front to every enemy in front of her, but on top of that, every enemy that is actually initially hit by Baneslayer also has particles left over that deals an additional 5,183 magic damage whenever a player deals damage to them for the duration of 10 seconds. Absolutely fantastic skill to have slotted all the way around. Simply put, it increases the overall DPS of your group, but also her as well. This skill, absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10 in my opinion. In terms of gear, guys, I like to essentially equip my companions in the same fashion that I build my own characters. What I mean by that is simple. Whenever I build my own characters, I go with 2 5-piece sets and of course a 2-piece monster set. Monster sets aren't really a thing for companions, so we'll just call it a 2-piece. Effectively having 2 5-piece sets and a 2-piece. For the first set is our 2-piece for our head and shoulders, and that is medium armor for both the head and the shoulders with the aggressive trait. The aggressive trait increases overall damage done by 1.7% for every piece you have equipped. Of course, this is assuming you have purple gear equipped. Medium gear is also very important to this as well, because if you look at the armor passive, it increases damage done by 1% for each medium piece equipped. The current, spoiler alert, current bonus is 7%, but on top of that, it also decreases the cooldown of roll dodge by 5% for each medium piece of armor equipped. The current bonus is 35%, and the current cooldown is 5.2%. This is going to just add to the survivability of your companion, because if there's an enemy too close by and she needs to get out of the way, she will roll out of the way and continue to deal damage from a distance. And of course, you can't knock that 7% of extra damage, because that is a pretty big number in my opinion. That on top of your aggressive trait, it just adds a significant amount of damage. So much so that for the first 5-piece set, we actually have the exact same thing. Medium armor, all 5 pieces with the aggressive trait attached to it. Because again, that's just a ton of damage that you are able to do just by having medium armor aggressive on her. For your final 5-piece set, we are going with Focused. Focused increases your critical strike rating by 569, effectively giving her the opportunity to have higher damaging criticals, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. This is going to be for all of your jewelry. Again, 569. However, your weapon is considered a 2-piece, so the actual critical strike rating of your weapon is actually going to be 1,138, which is basically double of your jewelry. With this, mixed in with your aggressive trait, really just ends up being a very high damaging critical strike rating whenever she deals critical strikes, of course. Great to have alongside with your aggressive trait. With that being said, let's go ahead and go over to the house and check out her fashion. Alright guys, in terms of fashion, she is wearing a costume which is called that in Camlorn evening suit. I can't pronounce that first word, my apologies. Sorry. Sure, why not? Go ahead and make fun of me in the comment section. I can't pronounce that to save my life. But that's the costume she is wearing. In terms of her dyes, she is using Flame Knight Light Red, Flame Knight Light Red, and then of course Regicide Red. This is a cool color, I gotta say. It's a really cool one, and I really enjoy that one. But with that being said, let's go ahead and see if we can solo a world boss. Of course, that's sometimes easier said than done, because players can come and go from world bosses and things of that nature. So it tends to be pretty tough to find a world boss to solo. However, we're gonna definitely try to do that right now. With that being said, let's go see if we can solo a world boss. And there you have it, guys. Firebrand has officially been completed here on the channel. I gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. As I've said before, this build was a ton of fun. I don't know what it is about the fire staff that makes it just so much fun, but that goes alongside to the companions as well, because I've been having a lot of fun with every build that I have made with a companion with a fire staff equipped. And this is no exception. I had a ton of fun. This one was a blast. Not only that, but it was a pretty decent build when it comes to damage output as well. If you enjoyed this one, do me a huge favor, drop a like on this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because it really does help this channel grow. So enough yapping from me, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.